I am single, living alone with 2 cats and some fishes. My younger sister is a 23-year-old single mother of a 2-year-old with some medical conditions that require some expensive treatment until, if, their condition improves and they grow out of it. My sister is like a child herself, too spoilt and naive for this world. My parents enabled her to go on her own ways, and she insisted on having the child despite being told the risks and having the man dumped her over it, somehow believing that a baby would make him stay. She is now living with my parents, and my parents are providing for both of them. As for me, I moved out of the house years ago for my terrible relationship with my sister. I was the only one to scold her for her mistakes when nobody else would, and she always had our parents to back her up. Yeah, I am always an idiot to them, and I don't regret leaving, though we still keep in contact. My sister came to me begging me for money, as my parents are now on a tough spot and they have trouble providing for her child. They may need to switch to a cheaper but lesser effective alternative to treat them. I warned her that time that she shouldn't keep the child, but she insisted, and now it became like this. I need to provide for myself and my pets too, especially since one of my cats has some health issues. I refused to give my sister any money, and she ended up bringing family onto the plate, saying how we should help each other in times like this. I told her that my cat is my family, and her child isn't. I am now rather regretting what I have said, but at the same time, half of me is telling me that she really deserved it. I am not her parent. She came to me when she got herself pregnant that time, and wanted me to help her sort out a plan. My advice was simple about it. Mind you, I also warned her about him before, and she brushed me off. She wanted to go through it, even after the doctors warned her that there were risks to herself and her child. I knew it wouldn't have gone well, so I tried to talk her out of it. Guess what? It is a precious life and a hope to bring her trash ex back. My warnings fell on deaf ears again. And now, after everything played out just the way I told her it would, she had the nerve to beg me for money. She is miserable, my parents are miserable, and here I am thinking I can never get rid of her and expected to clean up after her again, just like before. Because why? We are family. Screw that, she is not my family, not her parents nor her child. I know the poor child is innocent, but they wouldn't have suffered so if their mother hasn't made the wrong decision again and again. You are the idiot. That comment is way too harsh. You're not responsible for her child, that's true. But I don't think she deserved it. The fact that your parents have enabled her for all these years is not her fault either. She is getting a sense of the real world now, and it might be a lot to take in at once. In no way are you obliged to help her, but just don't be an idiot about not doing it. Also, don't forget that her child can't help this whole situation either. And whether you like it or not, her child is your family too. Either you'll be a nice aunt or the mean and bitter aunt. Everyone's the idiot here, but you more. The only thing you said your sister has done other than live her life is coming to you and asking for help, and maybe a bit of a guilt trip attempt. You are more than free to say no, which you have done. Your attitude awful though, you are so judgmental it is leaping off the page. You literally said you were trying to parent her because you thought you were better at that than your actual parents, and when they try to parent you, by telling you to stop and by defending your sister, you refuse to listen, which actually makes you the difficult child in that situation. Not the idiot. She's bow tied to that child when she accepted that potential risks, and those risks have occurred. It is up to her on how to deal with what she put on her own plate. You and your sister are obviously not connected relationship-wise that well. Stuff happens. If the kid needs care, she can take out a loan because she's got 18 plus years to deal with what she knew was coming. Just because you are blood related doesn't mean you're an ATM, automated teller machine. I got married about 6 months ago, and my family offered to pay for most of the wedding. This was a hugely generous offer and I appreciated it a lot. I work in public service and there's no way I could have afforded a wedding at all. While I knew that by accepting the money, I really needed to let my family have the final word on a lot of decisions, I had one holdout request that blew up into a huge fight. My parents have a neighbor, let's call him Charlie, who is just complete trash and nothing like any of their other friends. I have nothing to do with him, and if he shows up at their place, I leave. He's bigoted, he's a terrible alcoholic, and so on. Inexplicably, this guy is Teflon with my parents' friend group, and according to them, it would have been unthinkable to snub him. Now, we fought about this, an ugly fight. Tears were shed. I begged. My dad, he's mean, insulted me and threatened not to come to my wedding at all. He left me sobbing on the street and told me I was killing my mother because I am such an ungrateful idiot. I am not proud of this, but I caved. I was feeling vulnerable. I didn't want all the ugliness. My dad is seriously ill, so every fight feels like I can't take it back, and my mom promised that Charlie would be escorted out at the first sign of trouble. I wasn't so sure, particularly because my group of friends is very diverse and my husband isn't white, but I trusted her that it would be okay for a few hours, and I, according to her, wouldn't even know he's there. Fast forward to the wedding. Charlie gets rip-roaring drunk and starts trying to fight our DJ. He's screaming "Screw you," flipping him off. He's mad, I guess, because he doesn't like the music. The bartenders cut him off and he's escorted out. I didn't know this at the time because it was all handled so quickly. When I found out, I called the DJ and bartenders personally to apologize, but I'm livid. I'm so embarrassed. I know how easily this could have been worse. It could have just as easily been my husband's family, and I don't know that I would have ever been able to apologize enough. I am so angry at my parents for bullying me to invite Charlie, especially because he did exactly what I knew he would do and they act like no one saw this coming. Am I an idiot because I could have and should have walked away from their offer to pay and sidestepped the issue? Or is it fair of me to be upset because they used a generous offer coupled with a threat to blow up my family and estrange themselves to manipulate me to do something that made me horribly uncomfortable and it caused potentially disastrous consequences? Everyone's the idiot here. When you accept their money, you accept their strings. You compromised your authority over your wedding when you accepted money from your parents. If you don't want your decisions overruled, don't lean on terrible people for cash. All in all, the incident was managed without your notice or intervention, so nothing truly terrible happened. Just take your lesson about the cost of free money and move on. Not the idiot. If someone is being generous and giving you a gift, it's because they love and care about you. What your parents did, however, wasn't generosity, it was their interest. They controlled you with the money, and that's just inadmissible. I would honestly want to bake them a cake saying Charlie is an idiot and you as well. Everyone but you awful here. Your parents took advantage of your vulnerable position. Charlie was just a plain idiot. You were the only decent person and you have all the right to be upset. No idiots here. Your parents did exactly what they said. Charlie would get escorted out at the first sign of trouble. In fact, it was done so quickly you didn't even know it occurred. That's quite a feat. Despite everything, Charlie is still their friend. They wanted him at the wedding. They upheld inviting their friend, and they also upheld their promise to you. You are blowing this slightly out of proportion. Clearly, this incident doesn't have any far-reaching consequences. You're reading into this too much. I am a 22-year-old male rooming with my 24-year-old male friend. His GF is 26 and has 2 kids who are not his. The kids are 5 and 3. Well, the GF got kicked out of her own place and doesn't have a job and can't pay rent to live anywhere. My roommate and I share a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. The GF and kids came to live here and I was fine with it as they had just been kicked out and thought she would need a week to get back on her feet. Well, 2 weeks later she was still there and I asked my roommate what the plan was as I was starting to get annoyed by the kids. Basically, I am still in college and like having friends over, but his GF said I'm not allowed to have friends over after 10 and I can't drink or have parties here anymore because it would be a bad example for the kids. My roommate and I both pay half the rent. My roommate says they are going to move in for the rest of the lease, which ends in December. He said we could split utilities 5 ways if it made it better. I said this was unacceptable. I didn't agree to live with a family and this is really starting to affect my life. I said even if we split rent 5 ways I wouldn't want to do that. I then said if they're not gone by the end of the week I will go to the property manager and take whatever steps are needed to resolve the issue. Not the idiot, he made a huge change to your living environment without consulting you. 6 months is a long time to have that many people in a 2-bedroom. The GF's demands on how you behave in your own home are ridiculous. And he is almost certainly violating your lease by adding new tenants, putting you all at risk of eviction. The compromise solution: he can buy you out of your security deposit and pay your moving costs and you'll find another place. Not the idiot. Honestly, you can easily replace the roommate. I'd tell him that the girlfriend plus the kids can go by the end of the week or you'll break the lease and then everyone's in trouble. Just going to commit to it. I'll tell you what though, no one's girlfriend or whatever they are is going to come up in my apartment and tell me what I can and cannot do. But I'm also the spiteful idiot who would invite my friends over after 10 p.m., play music, knock back some cold ones and play Trivial Pursuit in the living room full crank. Maybe host a Game of Thrones night. Just make her understand that it's your place, not hers. Not the idiot, you're not entirely off the hook as it's only been 2 weeks and for some people, it takes a little longer than a week to get resettled. However, she has no right to make any demands at all of you as she's a guest, not another roommate. That she asks you to respect the fact that kids are around is alright, but demanding that you can't do anything because of them sounds like an entitled mother. And your roommate was supposed to clear this stuff with you before doing anything like this. We broke up 3 weeks ago after I found her cheating with a mutual friend. Broke up with her on the spot, but we lived together. Thankfully my lease is month to month after 2 years, so I notified my landlord that I'll be terminating my lease and am now finding a new place to live without my ex. The issue is that my ex is in nursing school in the city and has zero money. I've supported her for 3 years, no car, no friends to help her. She has been forced to move back in with her controlling parents who live in another state, thus quitting her nursing program that was in our city, which I was also paying for. I've felt zero remorse, but now my family is calling me heartless, saying that I'm robbing her of her future by making her move back home. They said that her cheating was wrong, but it's equally wrong of me to cut off her nursing education when she was trying to help other people. They said I should give her money, like a few thousand, so she could be self-sufficient because I was the one that supported her all those years and made her so reliant on me. Therefore, she's my problem and I need to support her until she can support herself? I don't exactly agree, but I don't know how I should have handled things better. Not the idiot. The natural consequence for her actions. Tell your sister that if the tables were turned, if she were expected to continue to support ASO after he cheated on her, she'd probably have a different outlook. If she insists, just tell her you won't apologize for having higher standards and that if she can't see how abusive it is to cheat on anyone and still expect them to take care of you, then that's not your problem. Forgiving is one thing, but allowing yourself to be trampled on is completely another. Not the idiot. The benefits she had while you were a couple, you were linked directly to that, the being a couple. You loved her and had no problem giving up some of your money to support the girl you love. Now she has completely changed the situation and you have no obligations anymore. She made that choice, not you. Hell, if you stole money from your job and they fired you, should they let you keep the company car and the salary for a while because otherwise, it would be too hard on you? Not the idiot. She didn't think about your emotional well-being when she cheated on you with some dude. Why should you care about her financially or if she stays in school? She's an adult. She can take out loans or have her family help her out. Real life action has real life consequences. She should accept it and take responsibility for what she did, and you owe her nothing. Your family is a bunch of idiots. They don't seem to care about the impact this is on you, just her and her future. Then tell them to support her. I'm number 4 out of 8 kids in a blended family. Because of this, I've never had my own party. Number 7 and number 6 have their birthdays within a 5-day period before mine, and since they go first and they're younger, I don't even get to pick cake flavor. Last year I opened birthday cards at the kitchen table alone, and only my parents and one sibling gave me a gift because the household gets tired of birthdays by the time mine rolls around. Number 8 has never had that issue as she is the only child who has a birthday in June. Additionally, she has 7 older siblings, is the only member of my household to be blood related in some manner to every single other member, and our parents had her at age 40, so they get exhausted with her antics very quickly. As consequence, she usually ends up getting whatever she wants from someone or another after a tantrum or two. I graduate high school 2 days before her birthday and she started demanding that I share my grad party with her. In theory, I wouldn't mind and I feel awful saying no to a second grader, but I don't want her little friends underfoot. I don't want birthday candles on the cake that I got to pick out. I don't want everyone to be focused on giving her gifts and forgetting about me again. And I don't want her monopolizing attention. I know high school isn't a big deal, but I've had some significant mental health problems throughout the past couple of years and I'm very proud of how well I've done. Am I the idiot for wanting my accomplishments acknowledged, even at the expense of a little kid's feelings? Not the idiot. Express that you don't mind the joint birthdays because you understand that that's 3 kids' birthdays in a short time, but this graduation is not like a birthday. This is to celebrate something that you accomplished, and it would be inappropriate to pair that with a birthday party. Tell them that graduations, weddings, baby showers, and funerals are all about the person in question. It's not a day for sharing, it's a day for celebrating a specific accomplishment. Not the idiot, I get this. I didn't have a blended family or anything, but I understand your feelings because I never really got anything special for my birthday as mine came right after the start of a new school year. So supplies and school clothes were the only things my parents could afford at the time. I think the best way to go about this is to write your parents a letter detailing how you feel and why. This way they can hear everything you have to say without you getting interrupted. And your sister is going to have to learn the word no matter ventilated, or else her life will be a hell later. No idiots here. The kid obviously not an idiot, it's just a kid. Though generally speaking all of this sounds very unhealthy. The fact that you're this starved for attention is a bit concerning. I used to be very similar, and only recently have I realized people's attention isn't actually all that important, or really at all. I haven't gotten a single birthday gift in some 8 years, let alone 2 in one day, and that's perfectly fair. Should learn to be emotionally independent.